The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing your host, from Salt Lake City, Utah, Jordan. And from Orange County, Pennsylvania, Dominique. Welcome to welcome to Talking Kayfabe, which is the greatest wrestling podcast that you have never heard. I'm Jordan.
I'm Dominic.
And we're going to sit down and talk about all things wrestling. Today's topic that we're going to talk about, we're going to dig it out of the box of gimmicks. I've already dug it out beforehand, so Dominic already knows. This is a subject you and I have talked about at length before. And it's pretty recent, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about the return of Edge.
Yeah.
Oh, man, there's 1,000 different ways we can go with this subject, just because it was such a huge. Would you agree that it was probably one of the biggest reactions, the biggest events in wrestling? I mean,
that was the biggest emotional reaction that I've had since Eddie Guerrero died.
Wow, that's a big reaction right there, because and we've talked about this a lot, because of the fact that it was so okay. Neither you or I we don't look into the dirt sheets. We don't, I scrolled upon it social media wise, but I had no idea. I had zero idea that Edge was even contemplating the idea of coming back to wrestling, let alone going to come back that day.
Not a fucking clue. I had no idea.
So let's talk about it. Where were you? What was you wearing? What was you eating? No.
I actually wasn't eating at the time. I remember it vividly because of how emotional it was. I was sitting on my couch next to my wife, watching the Royal Rumble with my 2-year-old and my 10-year-old. And number 22 came up on the screen, said number 22. And the countdown went, and the happened, and there wasn't much of a delay, which you would think they would have made more of a delay.
Right.
But they didn't. Immediately you hear, you think you know me.
You think you know me.
And I think, like everybody else, I flipped shit. There was no way. There was no fucking way that was real. Like, somebody fucked up. Clearly somebody fucked up in the back.
No, I kind of thought the same thing, because I remember hearing Edge's music, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? No.
Yeah,
no.
Somebody fucked up. and then you see him. And he's not in jeans and a t-shirt. He's in his wrestling gear. He has on his tights. He has on his jacket. And he's running back and forth like Edge does.
Yeah, he's doing the Edge entrance.
And then I think the reaction initially for me was, it was a joyous, holy shit, oh my God thing. And then it was a choke-up. A choke-up that may or may not have produced tears.
You gonna kayfabe that?
Yeah, no, take that. That's not happening. It may or may not have happened. I may have looked a lot like Enzo when he found out Cass was the one that beat him up.
Oh, way to keep it on brand.
And then when you see his face, and you realize it hit him the same way it just hit you, it was legitimate. Oh my God! Like I think I expressed it before when I said it was like you hear his music, you see him, and it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and then it goes, oh my God, oh my God, because it was one of the things that it wasn't supposed to happen. We were never supposed to see Edge wrestle again.
Right, and for those of you that, let's go all the way back. I mean, Edge announced his retirement right after his WrestleMania win, and he made it very clear. He made it very clear that we were never going to see Edge again in the ring. You know,
I almost Enzo'd that shit too.
but we knew that Edge wasn't going to come back. You know, he even said it. It was done. His career was done, and to see, and like you said, we got snippets over the years of seeing, you know, Edge and Christian. He'd come out for returns and all that shit. And it was like cool, you know. Hell yeah, we're getting, you know, we get Edge at least on some level that we still get to see him a little bit. But I mean,
my wife actually watched his 2 TV shows, so I see him often actually.
Okay, but now kind of segue a little bit of mine, but like we talked about, you know, like when Daniel Bryan retired, like he wasn't, like, we missed him, but
we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do it. We missed. I missed him for sure, but we're not gonna do it right now.
We're gonna stay on point. But what I'm saying is that even from, or we'll take it away from Daniel Bryan. Let's go to Austin. When Austin retired, quote unquote retired, which nobody knew, we still got to see Austin pretty frequently. We got to see him run roughshod on Raw. We got to see him on WrestleManias and stuff like that. We got to see him at all the special occasions.
Some other stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, we didn't have a real opportunity to really miss, you know, Austin or Daniel Bryan. But when Edge was gone, boy, was he gone. Like, he cut his hair. He went a different route with his life. You know, like I said, we still got him on special occasions, but we didn't get that in-ring. You know, Austin would come through and he'd, you know, stunner some people here and there.
Right.
I don't remember a lot of what Daniel Bryan would do, but, I mean, that's just me. And
he'd come out and he'd go, yes, and he'd get a GM with his shirt on.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, you got those points, but we didn't get to see Edge come back in the ring. We didn't get to see him come back and do all that cool stuff. I remember at SummerSlam when he'd come out with Elias, like, you know, that was the first time that we'd actually seen Edge even entertain the idea of
physically touch somebody.
Yeah, and I remember that was like, holy shit, did he just, like, and you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, it's a one-off, you know, never gonna, you know, whatever.
Yeah, because like I said before, I've seen him in TV shows and shit like that, so the idea that he could do one little physical thing or whatever was not foreign.
Yeah, no, you got to see him, you know, like I said, you got to see him a lot in that way, but we didn't get to see, and I kind of I overdid it, but like the Edge and Christian podcast and all that kind of stuff, like, so, but I mean, as far as like in ring every day, but we, like I said, we didn't get to see him on that level of, you know, in that way, and like I said, I want to go back a little bit. Do you remember exactly when Edge retired?
No, I don't keep track of years. I don't remember how old I am half the time.
Hang on, let me pull it up right here. Edge actually retired of April of 2011. So 2011, 9 years. That's 9 years.
It's almost 10 years ago.
Almost a decade, and Edge ain't coming back. We all accepted it. We accepted it, and it was part of the world. Fast forward 9 years, that music hits, and obviously, clearly we don't. Clearly we didn't know.
I had no idea. He didn't tell me shit. So yeah, I do not know him.
He didn't tell you shit.
He told me a fucking thing. For those that may have know anything, you know, about his surgeries, I don't social media, so I didn't know. I had no clue, none whatsoever. But I guess the whole thing with this, right, is to me it boils down to the actual reaction to Edge and his return, right?
Right.
Now, we've seen returns. We've seen returns that weren't supposed to happen, right?
Let's go.
Undertaker laid his jacket and hat down after the Roman match. That was supposed to be the end. We saw him again. We didn't react that way, right? We saw him again when he fought Cena.
Yeah, I think that the reason that wasn't as big of a deal is because we all know, even to this day, even right now, the last Undertaker, the last ride that's going on, his documentary like is going on and stuff like that. It's just that we never get that true sense that Taker was ever really going to be gone. Even to this day, I still don't. Until it's done, it's done. But until that point, I mean, Taker's always going to be around in some capacity or another. But with Edge, like you said, it was different. Edge, we knew he was done. We knew he was gone.
Wait, before we go past that, can I be a wrestling queen real quick?
You're going to be a wrestling queen? Then go for it.
I thought he was done.
You thought Taker was done after Roman's match?
I thought he was done. I thought that was one of the better emotional goodbyes that you could get out of The Undertaker. I thought he was done. I choked up a little bit. I didn't Enzo it, but it got me. I was like, holy shit, he's done. Like, he's really done. And of course, I think like any other person that was a fan of his since he walked in the door on Survivor Series, because I mean, I might have been 3 months old when I seen him. I'm not old. 3 months old when I seen The Undertaker walk in the Survivor Series, and I remember it when I talk about my age. But no, in reality, I remember Undertaker walking in, and so with me remembering him walk in, and then having him walk out in that manner, I was okay. I was like, cool, this is great. This is a great way to end it. End it with the new blood, with the new booty getting the job done, and taking over the yard per se. You know what I mean?
I just want to go on record and saying it took a very long time. It took a very long time for me to accept Roman's moniker of the big dog and that his yard, because I was so emotionally attached to Taker that way, and with Roman calling it his yard, I was just like, no, he's not the big dog. He can be the big dog wherever he wants to be, but this is Taker's yard.
Yeah.
That's
big dog is big evil.
Yeah, and that's the way I always pictured it. Now I'm used to it. Now I've grown accustomed to the moniker of the big dog. Yeah, I mean, and it really does. It fits him, but to go back to kind of go back a little bit, like, yeah, no, I thought that should have been Taker's last match. I think that I've said several times in our conversations that I believe that Roman should have been the guy that ended the streak. He was my personal pick to end the streak. I was divided on whether Lesnar, because of course Lesnar's he's got the chops to do it. He's the beast incarnate, whatever. But I was very much hoping that it was going to be Roman, just because I thought Roman was the new blood. He was the new life. He would have been the guy that brought it to that level for Taker, and I would have liked to have seen, give that rub and that shine to Roman. But do you think that let's go back a little bit, like, do you think that if Roman had ended that streak, do you think that would have helped his career, or do you think it would have hindered it?
I think I don't think it could hurt it. Roman was already in a position where it was really kind of do or die for him, especially with how the fans are reacting, which I know it's not fair to say they were reacting to him that way, but he was the one catching. I think they were reacting to the way he was booked.
I think
they were giving it to him.
What? Yeah, I think that they were kind of booking him in that. I don't want to really label it, but I think that the Super Cena thing, like we all.
This is what I think the problem was. And I'm steamrolling you now, but this is the problem with Roman. Not with Roman, with how they booked Roman. They wanted us to believe he was a fucking underdog. They wanted us to believe that this man that's built like an Adonis, right? This man with a beautiful set. His hair was gorgeous. He is gorgeous.
He is a very gorgeous man.
Good-looking dude. The proverbial horseshit, the guy girls want to be with and the guy that guys want to be with.
I have
right?
I have no argument with that statement at all.
And then they wanted us to believe that he was an underdog. They wanted us to believe that on any planet, Shane McMahon had a chance of beating him even with help.
The best in the world.
But they wanted us to believe that in reality, Baron Corbin could beat up Roman. I don't believe it. I believe that Roman Reigns could legitimately tie up Corbin and Dolph Ziggler into a pretzel. I don't believe that they could do that. But that started a long time ago. This underdog thing. It's like, why are they trying to make this guy an underdog? I want to see him fuck shit up.
Yeah, especially with him carrying around the moniker of the big dog. The big dog. If he's the big... Okay, so the difference between Big Dog Roman and Big...
I want him to always have a surprise on his face that anybody would have the unmitigated gall to say they want to challenge him in any way, shape, or form. He should be like, nigga, you know who I am? Like, I'll beat people the fuck up. Like, that's the way I think we wanted Roman booked, and they went the opposite.
Well, I was going to say that the difference between Big Dog Roman and Big Dog Taker, Big Evil, was on what planet is the Undertaker the underdog?
He's never the underdog.
No.
Even when he stood in the ring in front of Big Show, he's never the underdog.
No, and that's what I always have a problem with. I mean, even today with today's booking, like they want us to believe that.
I was surprised when not the second time, but the first time in the first part of his career when Brock Lesnar beat him. When Brock Lesnar beat Big Evil, I was like, wow.
Yeah, no. Lesnar was the underdog in that match.
Absolutely. Undertaker's never the underdog.
Exactly. And like I said, it's just that I think that's the big quintessential problem with why people rail against Roman so much. And it's not because he looks like the man. He looks like a Vince guy. He's got the body, the body, the looks, the hair. I mean, he even has a great personality. He carries himself like he's the guy that's gonna fuck your shit up, and he knows he's gonna fuck your shit up.
And I believe it.
And the fans believe him. But the problem is that they keep pushing him as this weak underdog guy where numbers are gonna get him. You can go fuck yourself. That Roman can't fight off 3 or 4 guys at a time and not break a sweat. He should never be that guy.
I believe that out of everybody in that locker room, I believe Roman is probably the one guy that's legitimately not scared of Brock Lesnar if they really fall.
Yeah, no, I think that's the way they should book him. But I mean, that's just like we said at the top of the hour. This is just two fans talking about this. It's just our opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. But
shout out to Ed. We're gonna get back to you,
Ed. Thank you. But I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Like even on that level, like Roman shouldn't be that guy. Roman should always be the guy that is the big dog. You want him to be the big dog, make him be the big dog. Don't make him.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, even after his return from leukemia, they were preying on that a lot. Like, oh my God, he's so weak and stuff like that. Roman looks like a god. I'm sorry. He's not gonna. He's not gonna be.
Is one of the most impressive looking physical specimens. I don't mean like Bobby Lashley, bulky or nothing like that. I just mean the way this guy's designed. He's designed like he's stronger than everybody else, but he's also faster than everybody else.
Oh, absolutely.
And is more athletic than somebody his size should be. And he has all these factors that make him the guy that you want to see do things to people, not have things done to him. Like, it made no sense in the world for Corbin to be pouring dog food on his face. Like, how? Like, that rivalry should have started from when Corbin decided to approach Roman until Roman proceeded to beat the dog shit out of him that day, and then that's the end of that rivalry.
No, I definitely agree. I totally agree with that. But
oh shit! But anyway,
well,
let's go back to Ed.
Yeah, let's bring you a little bit. I love that so much. The fact that you and I can go off on a tangent that way. That's exactly what the show is in a nutshell. So, but going back to the Edge thing,
we can go back with that, right? Steamroll. I'm fucking roll over you. Um,
But
they get talking, I just go.
well, let's get back to Edge
But
though. I mean, but talking about, so let's go back. Edge's music hits. He's out in the, he's running around. The look on Edge's face is that holy shit. I'm
if that
here.
didn't break you, you're not a wrestling fan.
I am not going to kayfabe, but I'm going to shoot on this interview. I got so fucking choked up, I damn near cried.
Oh man, my wife would tell you I was damn there sitting there going when you made that face.
I jumped up and probably said, "Holy shit! Holy shit!" I swear to God, the word "holy shit" was uttered at least 4 or 5 times before it started setting in that, wait a minute, this
holy shit.
before the actual holy shit. And it was because, like you said, we weren't supposed to. That wasn't supposed to fucking happen. We weren't supposed to get Edge again.
No way.
That there's no way this is real. There's no way this is real. And what I love about that, though, if you remember, the cameraman, we missed the very first spear of Edge.
Piece of shit. Just like we missed the I Am Phenomenal. I didn't suck at the Rumble.
Oh, fuck the cameraman at Royal Rumble. You guys are in the wrong fucking spot. I'm just saying. 2 fans. Our opinions. But he runs in the ring, man. He's running down the ring. He spears him, knocks him in. Would you have ever thought fucking Edge, who retired almost a decade ago, was going to be in... Was he? I know he was in the Final 4. Was he in the Final 2?
I think he was Final 3.
Final 3. Holy shit! If anything, I would have pegged it for a one-off. I never once ever gave it any thought that, holy shit, maybe Edge will win this thing until the Final 4.
Right.
And you're like,
and it didn't even hit me right away until I looked and like really paid attention. I was like, holy shit, Edge is in the Final 4.
Like you're starting to ask yourself, like, holy shit, are we going to see Edge at WrestleMania? Are we going to see him in that capacity? I mean, holy shit.
I was torn at that moment because it's fucking Edge. But from the beginning of the thing, I was rooting for Drew.
Oh, absolutely. That Rumble was... What I've loved about Creative is that they're actually listening to the people. You know, I get it that they want to throw a curveball and they want, they don't want to go with what's expected, but that shout out to the Royal Rumble this year, 2020, because
they did the right thing by not having Drew eliminate Edge.
Yes.
Because if Drew would have eliminated Edge, he wouldn't have accepted it. Fuck you, Drew. But because Roman did it, and then Drew eliminated Roman, we were all Team Drew. It worked out.
It kept him clean from the whole thing, so that was cool.
Right. Kept him away from the Edge's elimination.
Well, now that we've gone through the initial reaction to it, I mean, you and I have both agreed that Edge's return to wrestling was, if not the biggest return of all wrestling of all time in wrestling.
Top 2 greatest wrestling moments in history. I'll think of the first one later, maybe. But if I can't think of the first one later, it's Edge.
It has to be. It has to be, because what moment in wrestling do you remember the entire world stopping on a dime like that? I can't remember it. I can't remember a time.
Mick Foley winning the world title the first time.
Oh, I was too young to remember that. In hindsight, I've gone back and looked at it. Fucking Eric Bischoff shot his own foot.
That at the time, again, more of a WWE fan, but I was just so happened to be watching WCW at the moment when Matt Coxsucker said Mick Foley won the World Heavyweight title, so there's that. And I was like, well, I guess I'm never going back to WCW today.
Who's gonna? Yeah, like that's gonna put. What was it? Like that's gonna put butts in some seats. Like what the fuck?
Right. I clicked right the fuck over with everybody else. I left WCW with everybody else in that moment, and I was not going to change from WWE. I did not turn back to WCW that day. I turned it to WWE, and I watched because I didn't want to miss Foley's entrance, let alone him winning the title.
God, that's such a good match if you
anyway,
go back and look at it.
Digress, we suck. We suck. Mostly me. But Edge's return, right? Let's think about some of the biggest returns.
Triple H, almost every Triple H return.
Hold on. Hold off on Triple H because I'm gonna say hold off for this reason. I'm gonna put it in order to some degree. Big returns. I'm gonna say that should have made us emotional, right?
Okay, all right.
Shawn Michaels' return to wrestling.
Ooh.
Not after he lost his smile.
No, I know what you're talking about.
But after he retired, he flat out said, just like Ed, never gonna wrestle again. And I believe Shawn because of the way he explained it. When he eventually explained that the Shawn Michaels story, like, has always been the same. It's been the same character the whole time.
Absolutely.
Shawn Michaels started off as a rocker and retired at WrestleMania. That's the story of Shawn Michaels, right?
Mm-hmm.
The story of Shawn Michaels starts as a rocker and it plays all those years and ends at WrestleMania. Perfect story in wrestling, right? As far as a career is concerned.
Absolutely.
So, cool. Shawn Michaels never returning. And then they said, oh, Shawn Michaels is going to wrestle again. And honestly, my reaction was, really? Okay. Like, I'll watch it. But, fuck. Like,
I think on some level that we as the WWE fans, or we as wrestling fans, we feel we have an obligation to be like, hey, you remember these guys from the past? Like, they're gonna come back into wrestling again. It's like, oh,
like DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. Like, we never had any beef, but okay.
It's a nostalgia. Do you to kind of segue a little bit, like any kind of wrestling shows, whether it was a territory or even like small time shows when they throw like random people out there, you're just like, I've never seen that, but I mean, it looks cool. It's an attraction match more so than it is some kind of match that you're just like, oh my god, I'm dying to see that.
The whole Saudi Arabia thing is an attraction thing. It's nothing.
There's no
major.
There's no
like,
continuity.
Braun Strowman has a championship somewhere.
Where the fuck is that belt at?
He has a championship somewhere. It's somewhere. We got that. Undertaker coming back to fight Cena. It should have been emotional, but it was like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, he was supposed to stay dead. Like that, man. Like, it was okay. I was okay with him being gone. I had watched him my whole life. My whole life of watching wrestling, Undertaker has been there. And my whole life of watching wrestling starts as a 7-year-old or some shit. Maybe 5. Like, I started off as a child. I accidentally came across wrestling. And then within a year of me watching wrestling, Undertaker shows up.
Wow, so
Undertaker has been there my whole life watching wrestling, right?
I was going to say, yeah, you got to watch Taker's... you got to watch him from start to finish. Well, so far.
Right. So he finished. It's okay to be finished. I get it.
I think we're ready for it, but
it's okay. It's all right.
Which I just want to add that we will expand on that another time, because you and I have actually called, or we've actually booked his last match, but that's a show for another time. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan's return. I guess maybe it should have been more emotional than it was. I was super happy. I was juiced jumping off the wall. Not a tear in sight, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was juiced, though. I'm like, Daniel Bryan started doing those kicks to the turnbuckle to them motherfuckers. I was like, yeah, Daniel. That's it.
Let's go, D-Bry. Sorry.
Seth Rollins would probably be our next one there. His return, because we kind of more or less, I guess, if people were on social media, from what I understand, people were kind of really watching his return. watching him get his shit back together, watching him work out, watching him rehab and all that, and turning back into a better, stronger, faster Seth Rollins. He came back as that.
Bigger, faster, stronger. Sorry.
Great song. Shout out to that song. And then the next one to me is going to be Triple H. Triple H's return after his quad injury was probably the biggest reaction I'd ever heard in wrestling. Bigger than an Austin reaction, which we've talked about before.
Oh, the Austin
that
pop.
Triple H reaction was fucking ridiculous when he came back. But not a tear. It was super excitement and relief that he was back, because it was almost like, is he gonna come back? Is he gonna come back how he was? The motherfucker came back looking like Bobby Lashley, pale.
And longer hair. And hair, period.
Yeah. So it was dope. It was dope. See Triple H. But nothing did. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, to kind of go back to Daniel Bryan's thing. I feel like Daniel Bryan's return to the ring should have been more, and the reason I say it should have been more was because same thing like Edge, he was not supposed to come back. He said it. He stated it. After he returned, I mean, the whole world was the wrestling world was on fire. Daniel Bryan's back. Daniel Bryan's back. I think I think what adds to Edge's why a Daniel Bryan return versus an Edge return, I think that is because we had I keep going back to that whole it's the Rumble for one. Anytime you hear someone's a legend's music, shout out to Diesel and RVD and these one-off guys that come back. Booker T. Oh my God, that was a great return. But a shout, to first of all, you got the Rumble pop behind you. Then
of course, that's going to happen anyway.
Then number two, you get
Dana Brooke got popped that year.
But to add to that, the injury thing. We've seen Edge come back at a Rumble before, if you remember. It was prior. Right. It was prior to when he had this thing with his Achilles tendon. He got a major pop from the Rumble, but there was that. But at the same time,
no, I mean, like, he had two prior to this one.
Yeah.
Two injury returns prior to this one.
But what makes Daniel Bryan... Well, Daniel Bryan and Edge were very similar stories, but it just came down to... Because nobody knew Daniel Bryan was going for these surgeries. Nobody knew he was trying to go back to wrestling. We all thought that he was accepting that he was done, that he didn't have it in him anymore, and he settled into life. But we watched it slowly happen over weeks and weeks. Right. You seen him getting attacked, and he finally just had enough. But even on that level, it was like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Is he coming back? Is he not? And right. It wasn't until the week after he finally announced, like, I'm back, I'm cleared to be back, and it was like, holy shit, he overcame the odds. But with Edge's, like I said, it was just everything, the stars aligned just right that night at the Rumble for him to actually not say I'm back. It's fucking, you think you know me. It's the countdown. You think you know me. He came out in his attire, fucking ready to burst down and cry. He charged to the ring, did his thing, and that's all we needed at Edge. That's all anybody. I think if you're going to model your return after anybody, I think it should be Edge. If you're ever in the wrestling business and you want to make a big return like that, that's the perfect return.
And I'm gonna say this, right? All those returns that we've seen, everybody that we look at and look up to, they never get that reaction that Edge got.
No.
And I don't mean the pop. I mean everybody popping and then everybody crying all at the same fucking time.
The emotional weight.
Nobody has ever gotten a reaction like that. I will say, finally on record, Edge is the greatest of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
And the reason I say that is because if you're sitting there going, huh, Ric Flair, huh, you cried when Edge came back. You fuck. I'm talking to you, listener fuckers. You cried when Edge came back. You cried like a little biatch. You cried. I know you did because I cried. Jordan cried. Watch the YouTube videos. They all cried.
You actually spent weeks, not days. You spent weeks going over every reaction video you could. You would go out of your way at work to make sure that I saw the latest reaction video that you've seen. And it was in those moments that you and I both realized that, holy shit, this is the greatest return in wrestling, period.
Right, it's the greatest return in wrestling.
Second only.
Because Edge is the greatest wrestler of all time.
I was going to pop you, but I think we're going to keep this one pure.
Go, do it. Do it.
It's the second greatest return to wrestling since Bill Goldberg came to the WWE.
Fake news. Fake news.
Oh my god.
Goldberg shouldn't have debuted in wrestling.
Oh my god.
We're not doing it just about Edge. You're not doing it. You're not gonna keep bringing up people every time we do a podcast. You ain't gonna bring up people that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame but somehow magically made it. Not doing it.
Oh, shout out to Bill Goldberg, 178-0.
Shout out to shout out to Goldberg. I'm gonna give props. I'm just gonna give props right now. You ready? Shout out to Bill Goldberg. Shout out to Lita. Shout out to Trish Stratus. I'm not anything other than shout out to those professional wrestlers by trade.
Oh, I love that shit so much.
What? What? What did I say wrong?
Oh, nothing.
And Lita was beautiful.
Oh no, there's no argument about that. Speaking of Lita, her run with Edge. Ah, see, that is segued it back to Edge.
Yeah.
But
had a great run.
But to kind of close it out, though, I mean, we got to see, we got to see the rated RKO. That's the only downside, is I really was looking forward to that rated RKO return, but is what it is.
I was not. I don't care about it.
I loved rated RKO.
I think Edge and Randy Orton are so much more apart than they were together.
I think it was just nostalgia for me.
Not for me. It doesn't. It is. I remember it, but it doesn't. It doesn't do the thing with me at all. And they're like, "Oh, okay."
See what happens when you see what happens when you blasphemize rated RKO. Your signal cuts out.
Nah, I started moving. Let me stop moving.
But I mean, do you think what has to happen in order for that to ever happen again? To get a reaction like do you think we're ever going to get a reaction like that emotional reaction?
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero comes back from the dead.
Oh my lord,
that was about it.
Okay. So when we were talking about that, we were talking about like moments that could rival that, and that was actually my response. It was like, oh my god, like if Eddie Guerrero came back, you hear that music, and here come Eddie Guerrero. That's my barometer.
That would be the only way to top the Edge. There's no other way to top Edge's return, except for holy shit, Zombie Guerrero.
Viva la raza! Oh,
if Zombie Guerrero comes back, nigga, that's gonna set a house.
That's world news. That's world news at that point. Well, you got anything more to add to this show before we close it out here? We're just kind of testing this out, but we're trying to figure out a format that's going to work, and we figured that one of the greatest things that really bonded me and Dom was that reaction to Edge's return, and I thought that would be a kind of a good actual test show. So, but I mean, do you got anything more to add to before we close this out?
Just that, and this is something that's like really close to me when it comes to this kind of thing. When it comes to wrestling, it's something that's important to me. I don't know about you. It probably is, but I don't know. And it's that Virgil and New Jack should be in the Hall of Fame. And Edge is the greatest of all time. I mean, it's pretty much that cut and dry. The only person that really rivals him for greatest of all time to me is Charlotte, and she's on her way. She's right there too, because depending on the day you catch me, if we're talking about Edge, I'm gonna call Edge the greatest of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
If we're talking about wrestling, I'm going to immediately say Charlotte,
the Queen, of course.
But I mean, we're talking about a guy that is in the Hall of Fame and a woman that's clearly. I mean, if they wanted to put her in the Hall of Fame now while she's in her prime, I'd be like, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you and I both agree that there's almost, I mean, short of the women's tag team, she's done it all. And you and I both agree that she doesn't even need that.
And the only time I wouldn't want Charlotte to go in the Hall of Fame is if Virgil and New Jack were going in that year, because then she'd be third on the card, and that's not fair.
Well, if we're shilling for our picks for the Hall of Fame, then I'm throwing my pick into the Hall of Fame as well.
Who's that?
Oh, one of the greatest WCW champions of all time.
No, this is the end of the podcast. This is talking Kayfabe.
You are not going to steamroll me on this because I believe it. I will. No.
That's Jordan. I'm Dominic, and that's the end of the show. Push the button.
Oh my God! Greatest WCW champion of all time, David Arquette, belongs in the WWE Hall of Fame. Booker T's already in there, though. We need Arquette. We need
instead of Arquette.
We'll take him out and put him back in. That'll be the biggest thing.
No, just put him in again.
You know what? It's funny. What if they took Booker T every year for the next 4 years and put him in the Hall of Fame? That way he'd be a five-time.
I think WWE Booker T goes in. Harlem Heat Booker T goes in, and then WCW Booker T goes in.
NWO Booker T.
I'm just a Booker T. Booker T. I'm not so sucker.
That's my pick to go in the Hall of Fame. David Arquette, WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
All right, he can go in the Who Gives a Shit wing with Goldberg and fucking Trish Stratus and Lita.
Oh, I knew I'd get you there.
If there's like a physical Hall of Fame and you walk in and you go in and you go, oh, here's the black section, and you go in and it's Mark Henry and Booker T and Ron Simmons and all this cool shit. So and here's the tag team wing and it's Legion of Doom and all kind of shit, right? And then here's the solid mid Carter's area, and there's DiBiase and
say it.
All those
say
guys.
It. You know. There's one name you're itching to say. Say it.
What's that?
Is
the Tonka Hall of Fame?
I want to say yes. I want to say yes. He is in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he's in that. He's on that solid, great mid Carter area. He belongs there. Then you got the Kings of the Hall of Fame. That's Shawn Michaels, Edges. And then you have the one that it's usually the doors are usually locked, like if nobody ever goes in there. And then it just has a sign on it that says, "Who gives a shit?" And then you have to ask somebody, "Yo, could I get into the Who gives a shit wing?" And then they go, "Really? You wanna
Oh my god.
And then you go, yeah, I want to go into there. And then there's, Mr. T's there.
Oh my god. Keep going. I want to know who's in this Give a Shit Hall of Fame.
Goldberg's in there. Tori Wilson, if she is here, she's right there. Of course, you got your Litas and your Trishas there and there. They're right there. Look at them. Arnold Schwarzenegger's in there. There he is. He's in the Who Gives a Shit wing of the Hall of Fame. There he is. Let me see who else is in there. Coco Beware's in there. See him? Coco Beware. And let's go fuck yourself room at the Hall of Fame.
Oh, and right next to them is going to be David Arquette, you're saying?
David Arquette is going to be in the back where there's no lighting.
Oh my god. Whew.
Pretend like it never happened.
Okay.
So, no, it shouldn't have.
I know I shouldn't do this, but I went back and I looked in. Arquette actually did make an appearance on WWE Raw when he was the general manager. And holy shit.
Nobody remembers that. Everybody remembers when Wolverine did it. They remember Logan when he showed up. Nobody remembers Arquette doing it.
Oh,
why did he do that? Why did they do that?
Oh.
Did he get booed out of the building?
Pull up your WWE networks and search up David Arquette. Watch the great.
I gotta go do this damn well.
Oh, that's all the time we got for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna hopefully bring you more shows and stuff like that. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Let us know if you got anything you guys want us to talk about, because obviously and clearly we have a knowledge of only fans could ever have. But we're gonna continue to try to talk about anything and everything wrestling.
Yeah, nobody knew about the Who Gives a Shit wing. I just informed the whole nation. And they all agree.
Oh, one of these days I want you all to vote it up, and we're going to talk about David Arquette's run in WCW/WWE.
Run, you said. All right.
Oh, this has been fun.
And Karl Malone's run and Dennis Rodman's run. Then give them all a run. Matter of fact, I think Ron Bennington was there at one point. You don't even know who the fuck that is. So shout out to Ron Bennington. I know who Ron Bennington is. One of the greatest radio personalities ever.
Oh my god.
Look, Ron Bennington's not going, Arquette's not going.
Yeah, but he wasn't world champion. I'm going to end it right there. We're going to end this right now.
You thicker?
Oh my god.
Shane McMahon has a win over Roman Reigns.
Of course, he's the best in the world. That's why.
Yeah.
That's all the time we got, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys laughed. Please like, share, subscribe wherever you guys are.
No, keep talking. I'm just going to talk shit under you.
Oh, I have been Jordan.
I'm Dominic.
Like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and any other platform that you like. Give us a 5-star review if you like what you hear. If you don't, I don't care. No, please do. Please do. Please like it. Please share it.
I don't care. I don't have anything. I don't have any social media. I don't have nothing for you to like or comment on.
Oh, what do you say we ring the bell on this episode?
I say shout out to New Jack.
Have a good day, everybody.
I say shout out to New Jack.
Have a good day, everybody.
Yep.